Chapter 3. They returned to find Julius waiting for them in the ballroom. He was pacing back and forth impatiently. He saw them return and rushed to hug her. As he leaned in, he spoke softly in Sawyer's ear. "I'm sure you have a lot to tell me, but we have unexpected guests." Sawyer stood back, shocked by what he had said. "Who?" she asked quietly. "Derek and his parents. Apparently they were so concerned by Hannah's sudden departure, they came to make sure she was all right," he explained tensely. Sawyer's eyes widened at the news. She had much to do, but human guests made it impossible. She nodded at him, understanding why he had waited for her. Hannah had met Derek a few years ago, and they had been dating ever since. He was a wonderful young man and had charmed Sawyer and Julius easily. His parents were both scientists and ran a large facility on the East Coast. He was on the honor roll and played lacrosse for the university they both attended. He was tall and handsome, and Hannah was madly in love with him. He was always so sweet and gentle with her that everyone thought he was the perfect boyfriend, except Harlow. She absolutely hated him and was always trying to bait him into a fight. He had yet to take the bait, though. Sawyer thought Harlow was jealous of her twin. She had never had a serious boyfriend, and now Hannah had one first. Harlow was used to being the center of attention, and for the first time someone was paying attention to her twin. When Sawyer had tried to talk to her about it, though, she had only gotten angry. "No, Mom, I'm not jealous. There is something phony about him, and I'm sorry none of you can see it. I feel something wrong, and I guess I'm the only one who's going to protect her from him," she said. "Harlow, I can feel emotions also, and his seem genuine," Sawyer had countered. "So can I, and his are too perfect. Something is wrong with this whole situation, and it seems I'm the only one that can see it," Harlow fumed. She had stormed off and refused to talk about it again, except with Cassia. She had a lengthy conversation with her and had been able to sway Cassia to her side. Cassia was subtler in her growing distrust of the young man, but the two of them were determined to uncover the truth of Hannah's perfect boyfriend. Hannah, to her credit, never got angry with her twin. She knew Harlow's behavior was out of genuine concern, so she chose to wait out Harlow's distrust. She knew in time Derek would win her sister over. They had all been taught from a young age to never reveal their true natures. It had been decided only when the time came to reveal themselves to humans. If they were married to one, it wasn't until the wedding that it could be revealed. Hannah had been allowed to invite Derek to Simon's birthday party, which would occur the day after his powers were sung in. If Derek had come early, though, it would definitely disrupt their plans, especially now. Sawyer pulled herself together. She had to divert Derek and his parents. "Simon, you and Paul go find your uncle. See if you can find anything about this woman no one can remember. Myths and legends will probably be the place to start. I'm guessing the more obscure, the better. Get him up to speed on the situation," she instructed. Simon and Paul both nodded and left in search of Marcus. She turned to Julius. "Come, we have guests to entertain." He smiled at her and extended his arm out. "After you, my love." They walked into the great room and smiled at their seated guests. Hannah and Derek sat on the couch across from his parents and were making small talk. Hannah jumped up nervously when her parents came in the room. "Mom, Dad, I'm sure you remember Derek's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sterling," she said formally. Derek's parents rose to shake their hands and chastise Hannah. "Please, Hannah, call us Lisa and Stephen." The parents all shook hands vigorously, and Derek stepped forward to greet Hannah's parents also. Sawyer motioned for them to sit again and took a seat at the end of the couch Hannah and Derek were on. Julius busied himself pouring drinks. "Stephen and Lisa, what an unexpected surprise," Sawyer said in a light tone when they were all seated again. "Forgive the intrusion. Derek was just so worried when Hannah left abruptly without saying anything. He called us in a panic and we immediately chartered a flight," Stephen explained, slightly embarrassed. "Yes, he was terrified something had happened to her," Lisa explained. "That's entirely my fault. I had business nearby and decided to pick her up a couple of days early. I didn't give any thought to how stressful it would be for Derek," Sawyer explained. "Well, that's perfectly understandable. I'm sure you're going out of your mind with all the preparations for the party this weekend. Your home is practically buzzing with everyone running around," Lisa said knowingly. "It's your oldest son's birthday this weekend, correct?" asked Stephen, and Sawyer nodded. "How old will he be?" Simon will be 22, Sawyer answered. I can't believe that either of you have a son that old. You and your husband don't look older than that yourselves, Lisa exclaimed. You're too kind, Lisa, but we certainly don't feel 22, Julia said smoothly and handed her a glass of wine. Well, we study genes, so if you two ever want to give a sample, we could become rich. Imagine a face cream that helps you look this young, Stephen said, as he accepted the glass of scotch Julius offered. We will definitely keep that in mind, Sawyer answered. Can we talk you into staying for dinner, Hannah offered, and Sawyer groaned inside. No, we can't impose on you like that, Derek answered and smiled at her sweetness. It's not an imposition. We would love to have you, Hannah offered again. Derek is right. Your family is busy with preparations, and I'm sure they're excited to have you all home. We must be getting back. We just wanted to make sure you were safe, Stephen said, draining his glass. Are you sure? Sawyer asked, hoping they would leave. We are very sure, Lisa said, and sat down her wine glass. They all stood up and started for the door. Thank you for coming. We appreciate the concern you have for our daughter, Julia said. I will walk you out, Hannah offered. Sawyer and Julius joined her in seeing them out. We love your home. I hope it's not too forward to ask you for a tour of it sometime, Lisa said as they reached the door. I'm sure we can arrange something sometime, Sawyer answered. Perhaps you can show us around this weekend when we come for the party, Stephen suggested politely. Of course, Sawyer said, thrown off by the fact that Derek's parents were coming. She had only known about Derek. Cassie and Harlow were walking through the house when they found the group at the doorway. They had been talking and laughing, but when Harlow saw Derek, her smile disappeared. What is he doing here? She asked rudely. Derek was worried about me when I left so suddenly. He and his parents came to make sure everything was all right, Hannah explained quickly. Are you not allowed to leave without his permission? Harlow asked sarcastically. Lisa interrupted before this began to escalate. I've never seen you girls together before, and now I see your aunt and mother explains your hair color. It's extremely rare for identical twins to have different colored hair. I see now where you both got it from, though, she explained. Yes, it is amazing. Your family's genes seem to have so many anomalies. It's very rare indeed, Stephen said. You have no idea how rare we are, Harlow said sarcastically. Oh, I believe we do, Lisa answered her, and Harlow felt a shiver run down her spine from the woman's icy stare. Harlow could feel their emotions, and while Derek and his parents radiated kindness, she knew something was off. This woman wasn't staring at her in kindness, and yet she still gave off loving emotions. Her stare was filled with contempt and something else Harlow couldn't place. It rendered her mute, trying to figure it out. Lisa finally broke her gaze and extended her hand to Sawyer. Thank you again for being so hospitable, even though we interrupted your day. It's really no bother. We look forward to seeing you this weekend, Sawyer said, as the two women shook hands. Harlow slipped away as they were all saying goodbye. Julia shook hands with Derek's father, and Derek gave Hannah a chaste kiss on the cheek. They stood at the top of the steps and waved as Derek and his parents loaded them into a car they had waiting for them. As they drove away, Sawyer turned to Hannah. Why didn't you tell us you had invited Derek's parents, she asked. I was going to, but in the chaos I didn't have a chance. Besides, I did invite them. Derek did. He thought it would be a chance for our families to get to know one another better. I didn't think it would be a big deal, she said, and her eyes began to well with tears. Julius wrapped Hannah in his arms and soothingly said, Of course it isn't. Your mother has had a trying day and was just caught unprepared for their arrival. Sawyer watched Julius and was amazed at his love for his children. He was a heartless man who held no mercy for anyone, but his children knew him as someone else. He was soft and gentle with them, and they knew him only this way. She wasn't even sure how he could love them this way, as his own parents had never shown him an ounce of love. He had learned on his own how to love his family, and he did an incredible job of it. She hoped her children never had to see the other side of their father. They made their way back into the house and found everyone gathered together in the study. Sawyer sank down into a high-backed chair and wondered where to begin. I take it the guests have left, Marcus asked in an even tone. I certainly hope so. That family gives me the creeps, Harlow exclaimed. Give it a rest, Harlow. We have bigger problems right now, Simon said to her. Harlow shot her brother a dirty look but didn't say anything else. Have you found something on this mystery woman? Sawyer asked. Not yet. We have centuries of text to look through, though. Luckily, Paul and I have been reading them for years, so we should be able to get through them quickly, Marcus answered. We'll keep looking. I believe she's connected to all of this somehow, Sawyer said. What can the rest of us do? Julius asked. Sawyer gave a full recounting on what they had learned in the Fey Realm, which wasn't much. When everyone got caught up, Sawyer suggested that Cassie and Julius help comb through the mountain of books. She would take the twins and Simon with her to try to find a seer. She had never tried this before and thought her children might as well learn something new with her. They all had their tasks now and set out to find answers. As soon as their car turned down the road, Lisa unleashed on Derek. Why did you turn down that dinner invitation, you idiot? She screamed at him. Calm down, Lisa. We will be there all weekend, he said, smirking at her. You smug little fool. We could have planted some devices during dinner. If you had forgotten, we have 4 escaped souls. By the weekend, our retrieval team may have them back. Worse yet, your girlfriend's family may have found them, she said furiously. It doesn't matter if they find them. Our plan is to take the mother, he said, unconcerned. Stephen leaned forward slowly. You do realize that we have no further use for you after we take the mother, right? Derek's face quickly lost its smirk and the sound of the menacing tone Stephen used. When he had been handpicked for this project, he hadn't given much thought to what would happen when it was over. He knew, though, that he had been privy to sensitive information, and he needed to remain useful to them if he wanted to remain alive.